Welcome. How's everyone doing tonight? I mean, you swung key calls. I take it as what you're saying. I mean, I probably might not have swung, but I also wouldn't have swung short. I mean, you don't want to jump in front of this train. I wonder what the key features did. This is not going to be right. What should we on in QU? Go QU. I mean, no move really out of the futures yet. Basically, as good as flat. Up a few cents on QQQ. I mean, I'm not going to jump in front of the train and swing short on it or anything. You got those nice big moves out of Apple. We're going to talk Apple later, Microsoft later. Tech putting in some nice moves so far. Um, you know, has been for a year and a half now. So definitely no reason to jump in front of that train and try to short it or anything like that. But when we just get, we're getting pretty extended. Some of the things that I like to use for understanding where we are in the market. Fibonacci's is one, especially when we're at highs. So I'm basically going to go, swing highs to swing lows, those kinds of things as we start pushing up to these extensions. This is futures, of course, but you don't want to like I said, you don't want to be short, but you want to start being a bit more careful on swinging those longs, at least in my opinion. And so, we did have the nice breakout for us, last week, obviously, and every week on tech it seems. But still, we'll see. Hopefully, we get a little push up in the morning for you. And hopefully you have some time. It's always really tricky if it's Friday and you're swinging Monday expirations, you got 3 days of theta going against you. And then uh, that means in the end, you need a really nice move to actually make anything on that. You'll need a big gap up to make money there. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Give it a few more minutes. Kind of got a feeling with Father's Day going on. Uh, Might be a little quiet in here. Happy Father's Day to any fathers in here so far. Another one I really like, since we got a second, another one that I really like on long time frames for getting levels when you don't, when we're kind of in no man's land is B bands. They're just extensions. And when we're getting pushes like this, I mean, I'm not gonna say that you want to be like short again, obviously, but it starts, it's rare to have candle after candle close out there between these B bands. You can get these nice pushes down into them, but it's rare to get a few days of closure. So I won't be surprised to, we've got a lot of the data out of the way, got all the earnings. Well, I think all the earnings we care about out of the way. So kind of getting to that point where maybe we could see a little bit of consolidation again, still not looking to be super short or anything like that. I have some upper levels I want to get to on both SPY and QQQ. But when you start to see this level of extension on the B bands, you do want to start being cautious swinging long or short, the other way. I mean, when you have a weekly candle that closes like this, you kind of want to start thinking about maybe at least a little bit of retrace, nothing huge or anything like that, but definitely something you might want to have your eye on. Welcome everybody. We'll just give it a couple more minutes, like I said. Do something real fast. Hey, got that sent out. Welcome everybody. Small crowd tonight. Thanks for being here. As I said, happy Father's Day for anybody who celebrates it. Tonight, no, not a teaching night as much as just checking out the market ahead for the week, some things that I might be looking for, trades that maybe I have my eyes on, some things that other people can watch if they want to. And then I always try to cover some of my trades and then trades I might be looking at, trades that I'm already in, things like that. But uh, I like to cover some of you all's trades. We get some really, really awesome trade ideas from some of the members in here. Some of the really nice trades that we've hit in a few of my classes have actually been those member suggestions. And so I love to, if we have some time, look at some of your guys' trade ideas. A lot of you watch some other things than I do. I think we had a really nice one on Meta recently, and that was, recommendation from somebody in here. So I love to check out the things that you all are watching. I like to teach people find some stocks that you like to trade, whether it's 5 or 10 things, and just really watch them and really learn them. And so, I have my things that I like, and they might be different than what you like. And so that's why I love to get some ideas from all of you, talk about what I'm seeing. I can always give my opinion, of course, right or wrong. You never know what's going to happen in the market, but I love to give my opinion on any trade ideas you all have. So we're going to start with some of the things that I'm watching. I actually I got, kind of a few things. We have a lot of things in the market that are giving us some nice moves. We're going to go back and touch on some of the things that we've talked about in previous classes, some ideas that we've had as they start to come into the areas that we've talked about for some trades. The first one, we'll get going. Again, thank you for being here, Dirty River. Happy to have you. The first one we're going to go to, one of my favorites to trade. I know not everybody loves trading it, but it's something I like to trade. Super cheap, puts in really nice moves, can pay very, very well on bounces, pullbacks. You need to trade it accordingly. But the one that we're watching here, AT&T, you guys all know that I love it. When we talked about it in class here, we talked about it in class about 3 weeks ago, kind of caught that breakout. And then when we talked about it, not last week, but the Thursday, the week before, I believe, we were kind of pushing up to some of these higher levels, attempting this breakout up here, but really starting to see it falter. We were seeing it not want to push past here. So what I tried to tell all of you is, one thing that AT&T doesn't really do is hold sell-offs or hold big breakouts. It likes to always pull back or bounce or whatever it may be, depending on the trade. And so that's what we were looking for. I'm trying to be short on AT&T. I did catch a little short on it. Don't know if he's in here tonight, but I think 1K caught even more of the short than I did. I know we both sold early, but now we got AT&T back to a point where I think it definitely has some potential. We got the pullback that we wanted. We got this really nice bullish crossover of these SMAs. What I put on here was the 2050 and 200 SMA. When I'm analyzing daily timeframes, that's typically the moving averages that I like to use. There's a bunch of other combinations, of course, but I like these ones. They're less volatile than an EMA. So it kind of just gives you an idea of, very, very cut and dry. How are people doing over the last 20 days, over the last 50 days, over the last 200 days? If you don't know how SMAs work, very simple way to think about them is based on the close of this last candle. People who bought shares 20 days ago may or may not be green. We're kind of teetering on that level. People who bought shares 50 days ago, they're green. People who bought shares 200 days ago, they're green, or way above that. So that's all those moving averages are telling us. Something that I always like to tell people is if we are trading around those moving averages, 20, 50, 200, I know Tilio uses the 100 as well. It can be nice to kind of bridge this big gap right here. If we're trading around them, pay attention to them. And so when I'm looking at AT&T right now, as I tell everybody, any trade that you're trying to take, always try to look at it from both sides, the bullish side and the bearish side. Look for things that are working for you, working against you, so that you have the most factors on your side for a trade. Frequently when I give out trade ideas, because I trade support and resistance, because I trade trends, will almost always, when I'm giving a trade idea, be able to trade it both ways, up or down. We're watching for a few specific things to happen, and then we will take our trade based on that. For AT&T right now, I am mostly looking at upside. I want to get the bounce off of this trend line. We have, some nice support below us. We got that bounce exactly where we wanted to, basically. Previous breakout, previous failed breakout, big resistances here, big failures under it. We know this 1740, 1750 area is a really, really great place to be looking to get long. I am long on T now, just swinging some couple week out contracts. I was able to get a trim on them, but they're so cheap that, you can, I feel a lot more comfortable swinging these things as long as the trade is still going in your favor. And so for me, I'm looking at this trend bounce. We've had strong buying. The name tried to give us a nice breakout, was unable to hold the breakout, but now we are coming back and giving us the retest of the breakout. So not only have we had a strong breakout, we're now retesting that breakout level. Trend obviously strong up. We broke the more major downtrend that we had going here. We've broken above that. Strong SMA across to the upside, here a few weeks ago, which is what we want to see if we're trying to look bullish on these trades. And so for me, a lot of things in that area for us to be looking to get long. After a couple big days of selling volume, we now have had some good buyers showing back up on these candles. Obviously reducing volume currently, but increase in buyer volume. And so where I'm looking for that is just down here. I like these little candles down here. You can give give them a quick glance, you can say, hey, there's more green than red. So we have more buyers going on right now. I don't especially love this, I'll call it a doji. It's not exactly a doji because it's not flat, on the open. But I don't especially love the doji, but it is giving us a nice little view into the market right now of if we want to get long, any dips down to this trend 1750, all the way down to the 1740 area. For me, this is where I want to be looking to get long. Stops will be below there. So as you can see, this risk on this trade, if we do get that pullback, is going to be 10 or 15 cents. So it's simple delta calculation. If you buy a little bit of time on those, you're probably going to lose $4 or $5 is all you're going to lose on something like that. So very, very nice tight stop loss. And then if we do end up looking like this, like we're going to give this up, we can obviously try to short it down here to this SMA, the next one down 50 SMA. Any shorts below here, 1740, catch a nice little 30-cent move for basically that, 10-cent move against us in the opposite direction. As I said, I am long on T, so, this is where I'm staying long until that breaks. So I do want to look for maybe a little bit of a bounce here. Just nice, simple. It'll be a slower moving trade. Those contracts can pay really well. But it's important to remember that, this looks like a nice big candle, but then when you realize it's only about 30 cents, give or take, you always have to take that into consideration when you're trading those contracts and trading anything like these slow movers, your AT&Ts, your Coca-Colas, your Pfizers, all of those things. Trade those reasonable contracts. I'm in 1750 calls because I like to be in the money on these. It makes it, they're nice and cheap, and that no matter what, you've got some intrinsic value in there. And so I like to always have the intrinsic working on my side. Also gamma, typically super high on these things when you're at the money or in the money. So you can get a really, really nice pay percentage wise on a contract off of a relatively small move. So got the eyes on T there. But then again, you always have to look at for some of the bearish things that are working for you. And one of the main bearish ones that for me right now is the loss of this 20 SMA. We've been holding on to it for quite a long time. And so right here, we have now had the loss of the 20 SMA. So that is definitely something in the bearish category that we can watch for. As I said, we can look for a short below here, but right at this area right here, I have little to no interest in being short on AT&T. So nice little one. Another thing that I like to point out with AT&T, just if anybody is going to consider this trade, buy yourself time, get yourself a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks of time, something like that. And just buy yourself that safety. The contracts might cost you literally $4 to $5 more for those extra weeks. So it's worth it to buy that time if it is something you're going to be looking into, at least in my opinion. So that's AT&T. See if we got any questions going on here. Nope, pretty well good. Oh yeah, bottom trend. I drew that bottom trend. I just don't love where it is right now. It could work for us, but I had this was my original trend. And so when I removed this trend, I just never drew this one back on here. Technically speaking, is it right? Technically speaking, could we bounce it? Yes, but it just isn't. I didn't put it on my chart. If you got it on your chart, right on, good for you. That can always be another bit of confluence on the bullish trade. But it's just not one that I put on my chart personally. What volume indicator? This is one I got pinned in my tab. It's the buy versus sell volume. I think it's pinned in my tab. If it's not pinned in my tab, it's pinned in Toasties for sure. And got a couple people asking about stocks. Let's ask for those at the end after we get through a few more things. We should have plenty of time to get through a few of them. Next up that we're going to be talking AT&T, as I said, nice and simple. Amazon. Amazon's one that there's been plenty of trades in it, but it's definitely working in that more range bound type of trading right now. Because of that, you do want to be cautious. I bet I probably cleared it. We had charted this one before. We were looking for this bounce when we were down here. We were looking for this bounce up to this 20 and 50 SMA, looking for kind of that bullish thing, the bullish breakout to come. I had originally been eyeing this trend line, as most people should have been. So it ended up giving a relatively nice move for us for sure. But so far, it's not really holding on. We have we haven't had the increase or decrease in volume to show, a bunch of interest. We are having these SMAs kind of cross, but I don't so much care about the cross in this situation. What I care about is more that they're just going flat. So what we're seeing there after, long, and they've been relatively flat, slow grind up, till recent sell-off, but slow grind up. I like to see that because we've gone from a big range to a slightly smaller range to now we're getting a slightly smaller pullback. So personally, what I have my eyes on for Amazon right here, and what I think, probably I'm not alone having my eyes on Amazon right here, something like this. As far as areas of interest to me, I'm always just going to put in any major highs or lows where we took breakdowns, any of these highs up here, these all-time highs, and for levels, this is personally really what I'm watching. We don't, we're trading in a trend right now. We're finally seeing this trend start to tighten up. So Amazon, I like because it's like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the time, any trade that I'm looking at, I like to look for trades that are at points where a big move could happen. And why I do that is because it greatly increases our potential reward and it dramatically reduces our risk. And then it also helps us remove bias. If we're able to look at both sides of the trade, both bullish and bearish, then that's the best case scenario. And so with something like Amazon right here, obviously there's going to be a lot of people looking for the breakout. So that is likely the crowded trade in my opinion. However, I still like it. I like this candle that we printed. We'll zoom in a little bit. I like a candle print like this that at one point was red and ended up, we had, by the end of the day, we had 24 million buyers and 1 million sellers. So this went from a relatively bearish candle at, in my opinion, what's kind of a make or break level on Amazon. And we have this kind of bullish potential reversal candle. Some people might call it a hammer. I don't like to do that kind of thing. I just like to say this candle was very bearish off the open, and we ended up having a very strong close, nice strong buying out of it. So how do I want to trade Amazon here? For me personally, I'm looking for basically this break of this 184, 184.15 area, not looking for the breakout, looking for a push back to this trend. If this is a trade that I end up taking, as most of you know, I don't like entering trades in the center of the range, which is basically exactly where we are. And I will never be the one buying calls up here looking for the breakout. So if I enter this trade on this break, this 184.15-ish area, I want to see this trend. I will be almost exclusively out of the trade by the time this trend comes, because we want to assume, most people should always assume, that they don't like to, that the breakout in fact won't come, or the breakdown in fact won't come, because statistically they don't. So really nice setup here on Amazon. We're seeing those SMAs go sideways. We're seeing this tight consolidation get a bit tighter. So I do hope for the breakout up or down sooner than later. However, nice potential trade above this 184 up to about that 187.50, 188 area for a nice long trade on it. If we go down here, or if we are able to break below these SMAs, then I will start to look for a short trade. I'm actually kind of interested in this little level right here. This is where I would start to look for a short trade. I would want to see, either very high volume selling day below these SMAs to make me get in that day. Or if I'm going to be looking to swing, I want to see a strong daily candle closing below both of these SMAs. And then for me, the stop is a move above them. If you want to widen the stop out a little bit, you can use the level that would be our call entry. But I would likely personally use these SMAs, because if we're, sticking with that same, we assume the breakouts don't come mindset, which they typically don't, then the breakdown won't come typically. So you do want to be careful shorting below here. Just, we can even see it on, on Friday. The people who took that short on the break of the SMA, they might have made a couple bucks and they were blown out by the end of the day. And so if we are going to try to short it, then we want to see a nice strong daily close below those SMAs. We want to see some volume backing it up. We want to have the market look like it is going to be pulling back as well to really funnel that move lower. Then The third trade idea on Amazon, any dip down here to the 180 area, to me, is a buy. Even, all the way down to 179.50-ish, something like that. Anywhere down into this zone, for me, is a buy. Again, assuming this trend will not break. Offers that nice low risk, high reward trade. If we're able to kind of sell down for a couple of days, get down to the 179.50, 180 area, buy some calls, giving us, about a buck stop out, $1.50 stop out. In an ideal world, looking for the potential push about $6 up. So really, really great risk reward trade if we are able to pull down to that trend. That would be my preferred trade. Of course, we can take this bounce up here, we can take this short here, but as all you know, I love to sit around and wait for the good trade to come to me. That's the safest way to trade. It's typically the most rewarding way to trade, and it will really, really limit your losses. The final one we can look for on Amazon is really a push up to this trend with the look to short it. I personally won't be. I don't like to short things when, strong bullish trend, strong bullish market, blah, blah, blah. I tend to avoid the shorts in that kind of situation, especially on strong tech names. But if you are feeling risky, you don't think the breakout's going to come, maybe you see it faltering at this trend, you can always risk the short. But of all of the trades we just covered on Amazon, that is the one that I absolutely like the least. Favor is pull back to this trend, looking for that bounce. So Amazon, again, to me, more things in the bullish factory right now, holding those SMAs, potential reversal candle, we do have a little resistance above us, but we're seeing that nice tightening up, volume staying consistent, plenty of opportunity for those buyers to show up and give us a nice little push on Amazon. So that's it. Oh, we got Toasty in the house. Wow. No questions. Love to see it. Oh, the 1750s on T. Yeah, that's what I'm in. I don't remember, the July 23rd, 24th, something like that, whatever, 21st, whatever that week is. Those are what I'm in. Obviously up a little bit, so I'm not saying dive in at open or anything like that. Definitely plan your own trade, and but that's what I'm in. Nice and cheap, like I said. So next one we got Disney. We hammered this one here a couple weeks or last week, something like that. I'd have to look at my tab again. Caught this bounce, one of these bounces on Disney. Really nice move on. I think those contracts that swing overnight ended up doing, I don't know, 40%, 45%, something like that. However, when we took this trade, it played exactly like we wanted. We wanted to catch that bounce off of, some of these previous lows, nice push up to this 20 SMA. That is the move that we were looking for. We weren't trying to catch breakout. We weren't trying to catch big push, nothing like that. Obviously big picture on Disney, super ugly. And what we really wanted was a pullback to this gap fill level. Unfortunately, I was not around trading on Friday. Otherwise, I'd already be in that trade. When you fill a gap like this, there's no reason to be looking short until we break this. Maybe we break this 99.24 and we sell to this 200 SMA. That trade really has no interest to me at all personally. However, we've now filled this, this is a move for Disney. I mean, for Disney to put in the $7 gap on that earnings, and then, it proceeded to push another $5 that day or whatever. That is insane. We knew we had to come back and fill this gap eventually. And obviously their most recent earnings was what sent us on that path. So nice big pullback on these, and coming to that buy area that we talked about a while ago of get long 99.24 all the way up to 100. I think you'd be insane to be short Disney down here. Like I said, maybe you can try to catch that short, but that has no interest in me. I think this is a really, really great place to start looking long on Disney. We got the pullback to, basically the exact level we wanted. I don't know how close we got. We were 1 penny off. So offered that really, really nice entry. Wow, offered 3 really, really nice entries all the way down to there. Hopefully some people remembered that from previous weeks in class. But to me, Disney definitely looking like it wants to get bouncy here. Like I said, you always have to look at the other side of the trade, the bearish side of the trade. No denying, we've had some increased selling volume on this sell down. But when we're in a gap, you always just kind of want to look. You kind of want to expect that, and you want to be cautious of the market tricking you and doing some very convincing selling down into this level, making you think it's going to break, and then providing us a really nice bounce that day. That's the market kind of trying to trick you. Then, if we even zoom in a little bit closer and take note of what's going on with this volume down here, we can see a steady increase in buyers, even on these sell-off days. So it's important to, always look big picture, always zoom out, don't the short on Disney has happened at this point. Any shorting of Disney down here is, in my opinion, a chase. And so I don't have any interest in being short on Disney. We are again printing a doji down here. So a bit of indecision on that day, even with the bounce, but I still like that dip buy all the way down to about 99.24. And then any daily close outside of there likely be your stop. You'll probably end up risking 25, 50 cents a downside, which on Disney, that's plenty of room to let it breathe. You should never really be letting trades go $4, $5, $6 against you or anything like that. So just keep those stops tight. If you do want to end up looking for that re-entry down here at the 200 day to try to get long again, if the breakdown comes, awesome. But for me, I will be looking for dips to buy. Again, just looking for this bounce up here to the 20 SMA. About 20 cents a risk for a buck of upside. I'll take those trades all day, every day. So loving Disney here. Loving Disney here. Let's see. We got any questions? Oh, nope. We got Toasty pulling a Norvin. Zoom user pulling a Norvin. Yes, send questions on trades at the end of the class, and we will talk about them. Should have plenty of time. Let's see. I got two more things to talk about. First up, Nvidia. I've been meaning to correct this thing down to like what I don't know. I wonder if I want to remove it, but we'll leave it because we'll probably visit that. So Nvidia, obviously, basically the strongest thing. Of course, Tess wants to talk about his trades now. He's insane. So Nvidia, coming off the back of the split, obviously seeing buying on the back of the split, relatively uncommon, but let's give it a little bit of time and see if we do get a pullback to buy into. Obviously, do not be bearish on something like Nvidia. That's just insanity. And how can we trade this? It's tricky. We're coming off the back of a split. Nvidia just sets new all-time highs like it's a game for it these days. And so it can be a tricky one to trade, but I'm loving it now that it's cheaper. Those contracts are much more affordable. It's putting in ridiculously large moves for $120 stock. People are still buying the heck out of this thing. Something that Tilio brought up that I hadn't even considered is that we'll have that S&P rebalancing this week. And I'll be very curious now that Tilio has my eye on it to see if they are going to balance Nvidia heavier in the S&P SPY, specifically. The others are weighted by market caps, but see if we get that heavier weighting in SPY. I think it would make sense for them to want to do it, at least bump up the weighting a little bit. And if State Street makes that decision, that's who issues the SPY ETF, there's going to be buying. And then not only that, if they're buying it, other people will start to buy it as well, because they will take that as a good sign of, if State Street thinks it's a good idea to be adding a whole bunch of this and get heavier weighted at all-time highs, then other people will likely follow suit. Because of where we're trading, obviously we have little to no data. So one of the main things that I've been watching on this daily time frame is just any time we set any sort of a high and pull back, you want to take note of those levels and you want to trade around those levels. And that is where you want to buy those dips at. Obviously, you can use those nice whole round numbers. 130, I did 130.37, are always going to be a really, really great one as well. And then something that I like to do is just pull fibs off, any of those dramatic moves that we've had, depends how dramatic they really are. But one that I was trading on last week was I just pulled these ones. This was what I was looking for on Nvidia, and this was really just a, you could people would call it a swing low to a swing high. It's not really. This was just a dramatic low, not that dramatic in the market, to a dramatic high in the market. And it's Nvidia. And that's where, we pulled back and where the bounce stopped. That's the only way that I drew those fibs. So as soon as we broke that 125, on Wednesday, to me, it was time to start like looking long again, for some more extension to the upside. So that was what I was trading Nvidia on. I was just trading these levels, treating them as scalps, trading those whole numbers. I took a little rejection somewhere up around here, and then I played this breakout on that next day. We broke those fibs. I had 130, obviously, but broke those fibs, broke the big 130 level, and easy place to get long on the break of that zone. So now that Nvidia is a little bit cheaper, really great place to be trading. I always recommended for the last little bit that people really shouldn't be trading Nvidia. I saw the sad side of doing this is I get a help. Well, it's a great side of helping people in DMs, but the amount of money people have lost trying to trade Nvidia with their $100 out of the money Nvidia contracts over the last 4 or 5 months is really, really sad. And so it makes me happy that Nvidia is now at a point where, the contracts are still expensive because of what it is and how much it moves and all of that. But you don't need to be buying those $50 out of the money Nvidias. You can actually start trading reasonable contracts, the couple bucks out, the buck out, knowing that Nvidia puts in nice moves. And so I've been loving Nvidia since the split. Really, really easy to trade, affordable contracts, put in a plenty big enough move to really make it worth your while. So Nvidia, like I said, buyers still strong. I'm basically going to be trading around these fib levels, trading around these whole numbers as much as I can. And then any sort of pullbacks, I'm looking to buy. Like I said, any pullback to the major areas, look to buy those pullbacks. We pull back to 125, feel comfortable buying them, stops below. As with all trades, you don't want to just be diving in the middle of nowhere, of course, but wait for those pullbacks, pull us back to 130 in this 23.6, and I will very, very happily be buying some calls there to try to catch the bounce. There's no reason to be short Nvidia. Sure, there's like some day trades to be had doing it, but if you just zoom out, big picture on this chart and ask yourself, who made money? It is bullish people and it is not bearish people. So stick to buying those dips as much as you can. And like I said, happy to talk Nvidia now that we've got the split out of the way. You've got that little divvy adjust or divvy announcement from them. And so should start trading real well, or keep trading real well, a lot safer, makes me very happy. And final one that I'm going to cover tonight, one that I really like, one that I've been watching for a long time, or for a few months now, since it looks like March. Microsoft finally putting in the nice breakout, set this really nice higher low for us a couple of weeks ago, started seeing those buyers just show up and pile in, stay strong, didn't even falter at that level and has just continued to push up. So Microsoft, again, one that I am definitely looking to buy those dips on. Hard to trade in the sense that we now have, we're once again pushing to those all-time highs. So again, what I did and what I will be using level-wise is going to be these fibs. Not going to say we're going to push way up there to 480 or anything like that, but I'm going to be using these fibs off the dramatic low back up to that dramatic high. It just makes it really, really nice for us to have some levels to trade around when we're pushing those all-time highs. And so I don't love entry on Microsoft. I love if we get a dip. I love the dip buy. If we can get a breakout above this 23.6, I'd love to see a push. Obviously not going to say we're going to get just a $17 rip to 450. Or sorry, $7 rip to 450, nothing like that, but break above it, that'll be the target. 455 is the next target, and then all the way up to that 460 for the final target for me. You really want to start treading lightly when you're getting that extended on these fibs, but plenty of potential on Microsoft. Definitely a more expensive thing to trade, more expensive contracts, but dips down to 430, perfectly reasonable to buy. And then the final one that I'm looking for on Microsoft is if it comes, if this breakout fails, if we zoom out again, kind of look at the bigger picture, this area was tricky for us. And so we did get the very strong breakout on the back of big buying volume, everything like that. Buyers still sticking around on it, but breakouts can sometimes not hold. So if we are able to lose about this 430, 433 area, you can look to play that retracement down. I obviously am not in any way thinking we're going to go down to 417, 415, but if we give these up, look for these SMAs, look for that 426, maybe look for the 420-ish area for a nice little, just statistical retrace. It's not, you don't have to be bearish. You're playing a retrace. And so, if you're bearish on tech, you're wrong. If you're shorting tech because you're looking for a little technical rejection or a technical bounce, that's great. But if you're actually bearish on tech, then shoot me a DM and let's get you straight, because don't be bearish there, And so that's it. That's my Microsoft trade plan for me. Nice. We got 20 minutes or so to look at some things that you all have. I know that Toasty was spamming things, pulling a Norvin on us. We got Al Brooks. Al Brooks would not request Carvana, but let's check it out. I know that Noodle was on this one in my class last Thursday, right here. Not where well, let's see. It's bouncing where it should. But giving up that trend, really not. I really have no interest in trading it where it is. The two trades where I would actually have interest just looking at this Carvana chart is, and I guess we'd have to always take these previous highs into account. My real interest would be like maybe giving up these lows, shorting to either the remainder of this gap or this SMA, something like that. But as far as getting long, I would personally want to see like reclaim a trend, reclaim a SMA. This type of action it doesn't hold a lot of interest for me personally. I think Noodle was telling me there's a bunch of flow coming into it or something like that. But so far, the long's getting smoked off the last few days. So don't love it here. Doesn't hold a ton of interest for me. Again, that's short, but any continued weakness short down to that 100 level, top of this remaining gap, SMA, that one I like a little bit, but still a little too range bound for me to really have a ton of interest in it personally. VRT, that one I liked. I liked it a lot back here. Again, still kind of on that, you can buy dips down to this trend, even down to this level here. Don't like seeing these SMAs curling down. This was a really nice move. That gave the, $12 move off of those lows. So that one was really, really nice. I like the dip buy here a lot less than I did back here. This is kind of starting to look a little bit more like it's going to be another failed breakout. So VRT could definitely be traded a couple of ways. You could risk the bounce right here, but I'd honestly almost like to see that level break and look for a short down to the 85 area. And then if we want to see some continued selling, this thing puts in really, really nice moves. Shout out Norvin. Puts in some really nice moves. The option contracts are horrible to trade, terrible liquidity, wide spreads. But there's potential for a bounce off of that trend or a breakdown below that trend in that level to catch either a short or a long. But just holds a lot less interest to me this time personally. And if you are looking for the bounce, you want to see some signs of reversal. It's always, you always want to take note of, we got a really nice bounce here, big dollar wise, $12 bounce on it. And somehow pushed up on when, out of the 6 candles, 4 of them were red. So we know sellers are still very, very present on VRT for now. Snap, huh? I tried to catch the TikTok news on that thing so many times I quit watching it. Yeah, this is another one, definitely not a ton of interest for me. Gap filled, that's nice. But personally, well, gotta look at it for a second. Are you in something on Snap here, or what are you looking at? You can try the bounce here. As I draw this trend, as I look at this, you can try the bounce off this trend. Stops, 15 is just gonna be a wide stop on this, a 50 cent, 60 cent move against you is gonna hurt you on some snap contracts, and really you wouldn't even want to stop out until these lows. It's a tricky one. I mean, if you are how I would trade Snap if I was going to trade it right now would definitely be long off of this trend with a really tight stop. And just wait for the dip and see if we're going to dip down to these lows and then try to get that push over the trend, see if the first breakout fails and maybe the second one holds. But still just decreasing volume. I don't know. I don't love Snap here for a trade. Toasty, Dell, this guy. Well, attempting to break. This one still haunts me a little bit. Let's see. Let's get a couple of levels on here. It could do something. I love it. 136.40 though, and look for that pop to that SMA. But this is like, this is just, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these are all just inside candles. So it's putting in a nice little consolidation for us here. But they hated that last earnings on this thing. What kind of lows do we got? I mean, I am not long Dell until above 136.40, and even then, 140 is likely really going to be the area I'd be targeting. Nice little bounce on it, probably. I'm sure these options are horrible to trade. But, I don't know, Toasty, what are you seeing? I know you're all FPD'd on this thing. We'll get back to you. Shop, huh? I talked shop a couple weeks ago. Yeah, still oh, we talked shop for trend day. Yeah, we talked shop for trend day and we said buy the dip to this range. We didn't know it was gonna gap like that though. Wow. But tight bull channel still remaining strong. That 200 day was obviously going to be the target. Don't love longs until we're back above that 200 day. I definitely think longs should have been trimmed pretty heavily in this area after a move like this. So wow, shop played really nice. I'm actually sad I missed that because let's see, my class would have been Thursday, and that was for. Oh no, this is the day where my class was. Yeah, so missed that entry. But still bullish on shop, look for any pullbacks to buy. Pullback down to here, I'd still buy or break this 200 day with volume like this to back it up. Then I like those longs again, still targeting, eventually that gap fill. See what happens. Like shop though, definitely not bearish on shop, but if you're long and have been long for a majority of this trade, I think I even told Toasty nice job on this one in my last class. If you're long and have been long on this trade, you were pretty insane to not be trimming there at that 200 day, in my opinion. Gale arm, let's check it out. Ooh, wow. Well, the last time we looked at it, it was under that trend. So far, printing a mean double top here, but yeah, real mean double top. Wow. Dip buyer down to 150 though, definitely. That 150 is a buy on arm to look for that bounce. And that's a short below 145. Nice eye on this one, Gale. Totally tradable. Like, I mean, I'm not taking an entry here. Don't love this candle for bulls or shorts, but any dip down to 150 in this trend, to me, that looks like a buy, no questions asked. And then I just run a stop below the trend, below 150, maybe a couple of bucks of risk, really looking for that pushback to 160 if you can get it. Things been putting in real big moves lately. Nice eye on that one, Gale. Yeah, and really you could dip by through this whole little zone right here. That whole $5 zone down there could be definitely a nice place to be looking to get into arm. Nice one, Gale. Good eye on that. That double top was sweet though. If anybody hit that, I mean, you did kind of you got a little you got pretty blown out for a second, but when that thing gave it up, oh yeah, look at that. That was just real nice. That was a short right there. Beauty. Nice eye, Gail. Love it. Toasty, we talked about your questions. You're probably gone. XOM, I mean, yeah, we talked it last week. It did what we expected. So last week I think I had classes Sunday and Tuesday. So let's see, what would that have been? 10. So this was likely the Sunday class, rejecting that trend, strong downtrend, oil not the place to be long. We were looking for some continued selling on that thing. Obviously, nice bounce for us. This would have been Thursday class. What we were looking for was a push down here to this trend. Obviously did not quite get to it, but daily close below 200 SMA, although they did try to buy it up. You could be looking long, but I mean, extremely easy short on this thing. Has been a really easy short for the better part of, like, a month now. Energy sector, when you look at big picture, XLE, same thing, gave up that, we were watching these two trends. This is from class last week as well. Gave up the 200-day there. You don't want to be, you don't you don't want to be long on those things, in my opinion, here at all right now. Unfortunately, I know some of you are in that XOM, but I mean, there's plenty of stop out places on that that likely should have been hit. Coin. Yeah. Did you ask this one last week? Yeah, I knew that we had a nice one. We were looking for that dip right back down to here. Real nice entry there. Again, still a dip buyer down to that 235 level. Buy it until we lose it. Still strong uptrend. It looks like maybe we tried to give it up and we're ultimately bought back over it. But strong uptrend on this thing. You don't want to be jumping in front of the crypto trade right now. Nice, even with a beautiful trend bounce. Dips down to this trend, totally buyable in my opinion. Even dips all the way down to here, totally buyable. Litecoin, kind of like in crypto. Wondering if we could, crypto could be a nice trade going through the summer. I definitely got my eye on it personally. Season we would do NVIDIA, but that tells me you just got here because we already did NVIDIA. AT&T rejected the bigger downtrend. No, did I need to zoom out a little? Oops. Do I need to zoom out a little bit? We need even more than that, huh? Trade this thing a lot. I don't know. Here's my trend. I guess I should probably drag it out before I say I don't know, but looks to be definitely very, very solidly above that thing there. I mean, I wish I had actually seen that. Wow, would it dip by on the major trend? I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about there, Charles. Um, maybe there was a trend in here below my other arrows, but to me, this was that's the most major trend that we're breaking it now. Thing looks pretty good to me. I mean, it looks horrible, but it looks pretty good to me. Apple, yeah, Apple's tricky right now. This chart, it's got no info for us. Ooh, this like inside candle level of Apple, my personal expectation is that we trade within this candle for a little bit. I mean, when you look back at the Apple chart, we did this at some point. I mean, there's not a bigger candle. Like there might be some gaps that are bigger on Apple, but these are two of the biggest moves Apple has ever made in all of its history. And so to me, my personal opinion on Apple is expect it to remain between this 220 and 206 area for a while. That was even something we talked about with Apple for, we go all the way back here, 2020. From 2020 until just recently, we spent 3+ years wrapped in a $40 range, $30 range, plenty tradable, obviously plenty big enough range to trade, but we took 3 years of consolidation to finally take that 200 breakout. I even remember back 2020, 2021, or early 2021, assuming Apple was going to break 200. And it took us until halfway through 2024 for it to finally happen. So for me, after just an explosive move on the back of a calculator app and a pencil, I would expect us to spend a good amount of time in this range. Hard to trade it, right? I won't say hard to trade it, but just not a lot of data to trade around. It's actually looking like a pretty nice level. You should probably have on your chart, 211-ish area. but not a ton of data to trade around. I mean, you can make an argument for something like this, but I think Apple, I want a few more days to really see what it's going for. Oh, yeah, Toasty, I said rising volume on that Dell, so I got you. I see what you're saying. Rising volume on consolidation, I like that. CRM, yeah, I actually got out of that one. I was in that one for a little bit. I was a dip buyer on that one. I'm no longer quite a dip buyer on that one. But I bought on these couple days somewhere around here after that earnings. But for me, CRM, I want to, it was obviously not quite ready to fill that gap. I would like to see it pull down back to the top of this gap zone, for any sort of trade for me. But again, when you have a thing gap down, whatever that was, I don't know, 30%, 25% that thing sold on earnings, it's best to give it a little bit of time and kind of decide what it wants to do with itself. Wow, the top of the old gap was where we rejected ultimately. It's worth noting, actually. But for me, I mean, I want to see, I would like to see it pull down a bit more before I get into buying the dip on that personally. Let's see. Netflix. Oh, beast. Oh yeah, we got some MMA levels on there. It was like back here or something. I think those are good ones. Pushing now. I don't know, maybe that was like around here. Pushing now. Finally take that little break. Not, I mean, big old break. Gonna be a tricky one to trade. How I would personally be doing this would be looking for something like, yeah, I'd honestly probably go there. Yeah. Kind of rejecting where you'd want it to. But ultimately those would be my upside targets on Netflix. But should definitely have this high on here. I mean, those dip buys down 663. I wonder what that 4 hour is looking like. Looking strong. I mean, that's a nice strong breakout. As long as it stays strong, you can really look to be buying dips and pullbacks on that thing. Don't always expect the $20 move, obviously. But wow, Netflix looking good. That one actually kind of really does interest me there. I like that one. Who asked for Netflix? Johnny. Good eye on that one. And I think it's got more gas in the tank. That thing wants to go, like it's just been an absolute beast. Nope, season, like I told you, we did a video already, so I can't redo it. That's how I know you got here late. Charles, oh, you're sending it. That's AT&T started, year, time frame, 3 years. Oh, you went like off these two highs. Is that right? No, you say it started 6 June of 2022. This one? That's 6/20/22 right there, right? Or is this 6/20/22 right here? Regardless, a lot of trends on T. These are still the ones that I have interest in. I mean, there's like a million of these things going on here. I mean, that thing seems to be breaking all trends as best I can tell. Ooh, XLF, tricky one right now. Financials just can't get it together. However, pulling down to where we want it to pull down to potentially start looking at for some of those longs again. Still not rushing into it. We still have kind of, the interesting Fed and banks and rates and bonds and yields. And so a lot working against, a lot working for banks. I think if you want to trade banks, as opposed to trade XLF, trade some of those individual names, trade your JP Morgans, your Goldman Sachs, trade those big names, Bank of America. You can likely catch a slightly better move on them. And because so many banks are all doing different levels of good and bad, it's hard to catch that XLF trade accordingly, at least in my opinion. Con, CONN. What do we got here? Cons. Wow. Is this the one that you said was a strong buy at 450? Wow, look at that thing. Cons. This is Archon stock. Wow, that's a horrible chart. Giving up lows. Nice. Yeah, that thing looks terrible. Let's go into the OTC market. Yeah. Last one, Palo Alto. Oh no, it's only 550. We got a little more time if people want it. Let's see. Wow. Interesting. Wanted above that 330, but above that 330, you could start to see a bit of nice pushing on that thing. Not where I'm getting long here. We might sell to this SMA. Well, a lot of messages from Toasty. We might sell to this SMA, but a break of that, 325 all the way up to 330. You can take the early entry at 325, looking for 327, 330, but above 330, start looking for a nice move up. Still got a bunch of this gap left to do, we got a lot of gap left. There will be a little faltering around that 340, 350 area. But if this thing wants to stay strong, obviously big push. Weird to see it selling when the market was doing pretty good. But nice eye. Who asked for this? Colin. Good eye on this one. And then if we do end up giving up some of these lows as 314, that short down to 310, 308 could pay really, really well. It's just, it's not being bearish on it, just looking for a little bit of a retrace on it. So nice trades all around us right here. Great eye, Colin. Hood. Got a couple requests from Hood, from Toasty included. Ooh, look at that. Nice eye. Hood. Rejected where we wanted it to, apparently. I should keep my eyes on this thing. Well, that just was like basically too perfect, huh? I ain't long. Break of this trend, look for this SMA, probably 2150 area, maybe. You might get a little hung up here at 22. But I'm not long on this right now. Reclaim of that trend, and I'd look for some fresh highs, but not long on it here personally. Could take the stab down here, but still, that's made a real strong move. 20, I don't know how many percent that is, 20% up probably on that move. 50%? No, that's just lying to me. Lows is 16. Oh yeah, to 24. Nice 50% run. You gotta look for a little bit of a retrace. As I see that is a 50% run, that scares me a little bit more to be getting long on it. Yeah, but really dips down to this SMA, probably worth buying. Strong move out of Hood. That short was nice. That break of 2280 was nice. That was like a swingable candle too. If I saw a close like that after being green, I'd probably be swinging shorts on that. NNDM, you're really gonna request that one, Toasty? I only got a couple levels on there. Pull up the all-time chart. Oh, we need even more time to go back to see Toasty's entry. Love it. Love it. Oh, we need even more time? What? Oh no, there we go. Toasty half parts at 1789. He slaps an average at 621. And then he fully nice exit at 3. Love the nice exit at 3. It's been solidly below there ever since. Okay, well, 6 o'clock, if that's gonna do it. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all for being here. I love talking charts with all of you. A few great ideas from some of you. Netflix, like that. Hood, like that. Oh, we liked Coin. Oh yeah, Palo Alto. Yeah, you guys had bangers tonight. Love to see it. Keep your eyes on Disney. Keep your eyes on Microsoft T, Amazon. A lot of good trades coming this week. Love to see it. We should have some fun. So thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. Can I do GME before we go? No, there's nothing to chart on that thing. It's not trading technically. We can look at it. Don't get me wrong. We can look at what I said. Here's my blue circle where I said if we pull back to here, buy it. But now This thing's got a mind of its own. There's no technicals to look at here. You know, people giving out, oh, we need to break 2750. Ignore anybody giving you levels on GME. I mean, that thing is ride or die, you know. I mean, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. Nothing to chart there. Personally, in my opinion. Yeah, thank you everybody. Happy Father's Day to the fathers. Thank you for being here, and we will catch you all tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a great day.